The dust rises in thin clouds behind 3 pickup trucks rolling off Interstate 10 onto the gravel lot of a rest stop 50 miles west of Phoenix. The June sun beats down on cracked asphalt and sun-bleached picnic tables scattered among skeletal mesquite trees. Heat shimmers above the parking lot in waves that blur the distant mountains into watercolor smudges. Former Phoenix PD Sergeant Mike Chen kills the engine of the lead truck and feels the familiar weight shift in the crew cab behind him. Through the rearview mirror, he watches Titan, his retired German shepherd, lift his grizzled muzzle from where it rested on crossed paws. At 11 years old, Titan moves slower than he used to, but those amber eyes still hold the same razor-sharp intelligence that made him one of the best narcotics and human trafficking detection dogs in Arizona. The other 2 trucks park beside him. Detective Sarah Morrison emerges from one, moving to open the rear door for Valor, a Belgian Malinois whose black muzzle has gone silver. From the 3rd vehicle, Officer James Rodriguez releases Duchess, a bloodhound whose drooping ears and soulful eyes mask an unmatched tracking ability that solved 17 missing persons cases during her career. They are driving back from a K-9 retirement ceremony in San Diego, 3 former handlers with their retired partners, taking the scenic route home through the desert they all know so well. Mike clips a leash to Titan's collar more out of habit than necessity. The dog stays close without being told, years of training woven into every movement. Sarah and James do the same with their dogs, and the 6 of them move together toward the rest stop building, a squat concrete structure that promises air conditioning and cold water. The parking lot holds only 4 other vehicles. A semi-truck idles near the far edge, its driver visible in the cab, checking his phone. 2 sedans sit closer to the building, both empty. The 4th vehicle, a white panel van with Texas plates, is parked at an odd angle near the women's restroom, backed into a spot that faces the exit. Mike notices these things automatically, old instincts that retirement cannot erase. Beside him, Titan's ears swivel forward. They are halfway across the lot when the little girl appears from behind the restroom building. She moves like a shadow, small and thin in a pink t-shirt that hangs too large on her frame. Her dark hair falls across her face, and she clutches a worn, stuffed rabbit to her chest. She cannot be more than 7 years old. She stops when she sees them, her whole body going still in a way that makes Mike's chest tighten. He recognizes that stillness. He has seen it before in victims too frightened to run, too damaged to cry. Sarah sees her too and offers a gentle smile. "Hey there, sweetheart. You okay?" The girl does not answer. Her eyes, huge and dark in a face too pale for the Arizona heat, flick from the women to the men to the dogs and back again. She takes a half step backward. James crouches down, making himself smaller. "It's all right. We're just stopping for some water. Those are our dogs. They're very friendly." The girl's lips move, but no sound comes out. Her fingers clench tighter around the stuffed rabbit, and Mike notices something then. Her knuckles are white, not just from gripping the toy, but from the bruises that circle her thin wrists like bracelets. All 3 dogs have gone perfectly still. Titan's body has shifted into a stance Mike knows as well as his own heartbeat. Alert, focused, locked onto something only he can sense. The girl glances over her shoulder towards the white van, then back at them. She takes 2 steps forward, then stops again. Her hand trembles as she lets the stuffed rabbit slide from her grip. It falls to the dusty ground. Then she does something that makes Mike's blood run cold. She crouches down. Her small fingers move through the dust coating the asphalt. Slowly, deliberately, she draws a symbol. A diamond shape with a line through it and a small circle in the upper right corner. She draws it once, then twice more beside it, each mark precise and practiced. Mike stares at the symbols. His mind rifles through training, manuals, briefings, presentations from the FBI's Human Trafficking Task Force. He knows this symbol. Every canine handler who worked trafficking cases knows it. It is the distress signal developed by child advocacy groups. 3 diamonds mean urgent danger. The circle indicates the presence of traffickers. The line means cannot speak. The girl looks up at them once more, her eyes pleading. Then she turns and runs back toward the white van. She moves quickly, her pink sneakers kicking up dust. She disappears around the corner of the restroom building. Titan releases a low whine, the first sound Mike has heard him make all day. The dog's body vibrates with tension, every muscle coiled. Beside him, Valor and Duchess have the same rigid stance. Their training runs bone deep, and they know. They remember. Sarah's voice comes out barely above a whisper. Did she just draw what I think she drew? 3 diamonds, James says. His hand has moved automatically to his hip, where his service weapon would have been if he were still on duty. Finding nothing, his hand clenches into a fist. The trafficking signal. Mike, please tell me I'm seeing things. Mike is already pulling out his phone, but his eyes stay locked on the corner where the girl vanished. You're not seeing things. His voice is tight. Call 911. Tell them we have a possible trafficking situation. Give them the van's plate number. He rattles off the license plate from memory, his mind already running through everything he knows about this rest stop. They are in the middle of nowhere, 20 miles from the nearest town. Response time will be at least 30 minutes, maybe 40. The girl is back there now. With them. Whoever took her. Sarah already has her phone out, speaking in low, urgent tones to dispatch. James moves toward his truck, probably going for the equipment they all still carry, old habits dying hard. But Titan is staring at Mike, and the message in those amber eyes is clear. The dog knows what that symbol means as well as Mike does. They spent 4 years together tracking down traffickers, pulling victims out of hell. Titan found children hidden in truck beds, locked in storage units, trapped in basements. He alerted to the drugs they used to keep the victims compliant. He tracked trails through desert scrub that led to rescue. The dog knows, and the dog is telling him they cannot wait. Mike makes a decision that probably crosses a dozen lines. He is not a cop anymore. He has no authority here, no backup, no plan. But he has Titan, and Sarah, and James, and 3 of the best K9s who ever wore a badge. We cannot wait 30 minutes, he says. That van could be gone in 5. Sarah lowers her phone, dispatch still on the line. What are you thinking? I'm thinking we do what we trained for. Mike looks at his old partners, sees his own determination reflected in their faces. We get eyes on that van. We confirm the threat. We do not engage, but we do not let them leave. James returns from his truck carrying a first aid kit, a tactical flashlight, and his old duty belt minus the gun. My camera's in there too. If we can get photos, give the responding unit something concrete. Sarah nods, still on the phone. Dispatch has units responding. They want us to stay back, observe only. That's what we'll do. Mike looks down at Titan. The dog's tail gives a single wag. But if that girl is in danger, if they try to move her before help arrives, these dogs will know, and will respond. They move as a unit, the training from hundreds of operations clicking back into place like they never stopped. Mike and Titan take point, moving along the edge of the parking lot toward the restroom building. Sarah and Valor circle wide to get a view of the van's passenger side. James and Duchess hang back, ready to block any exit route. The rest stop feels too quiet. The semi-driver is still in his cab, oblivious. No one else is visible. The white van sits silent, its tinted windows hiding whatever is inside. Mike eases around the corner of the building, Titan a perfect heel beside him. The girl is standing next to the van's rear doors. A man in a rumpled shirt and sunglasses leans against the vehicle, smoking a cigarette. He is maybe 40, with the kind of face that blends into any crowd. When he sees Mike and Titan, he straightens. "Help you with something?" The man's voice is casual, but his free hand moves to his pocket. Mike stops 20 feet away, keeping his body language relaxed despite the adrenaline coursing through him. "Just walking my dog. Hot day. Rest stop's over there." The man jerks his head toward the main building. "Yep, just stretching our legs first." Mike lets his gaze drift past the man to the girl. She is pressed against the van, her eyes locked on Titan. "Cute kid. Yours?" "Niece." The word comes too fast. "We're heading to her grandma's place in California." "Long drive?" "Yeah." The silence stretches. Titan has gone rigid again, his nose working the air. Mike knows that posture. The dog is alerting. He can smell something. Probably the chemical trace of drugs. Traffickers often keep victims sedated during transport. The girl has not moved, but her eyes are now on Mike. She is trying to tell him something without speaking. Her small hand rises slightly, and she points one finger downward toward the van's back doors. More victims. Inside the van. Mike's heart hammers against his ribs, but his face remains neutral. "Well, don't let me keep you. Safe travels." He turns to walk away, and that is when the man makes his mistake. He moves toward the girl, grabbing her arm roughly and saying something low that Mike cannot hear. But Titan hears it. The dog's hackles rise, a growl rumbling deep in his chest. The man freezes. He looks at the dog, then at Mike, and understanding flashes across his face. "You a cop?" "Used to be." Mike keeps his voice level. "Now I'm just a guy, with a dog who doesn't like seeing bruises on little kids' wrists." For 3 seconds, nothing moves. Then the man releases the girl and bolts. He runs toward the van's driver door, fumbling for keys. Mike does not think. He moves on instinct, giving Titan the command he swore he would never use again after retirement. "Titan, stop." The German Shepherd launches forward like he is 5 years old again, covering the 20 feet in seconds. He does not bite. That is not his training. Instead, he does what he was taught for situations exactly like this. He body checks the man, using 70 pounds of muscle and momentum to knock him off balance. The man crashes to the ground, and Titan stands over him, teeth bared, the growl turning into sharp, commanding barks that echo off the concrete walls. Sarah and James are there in seconds, moving in from both sides. Sarah has her phone out, recording everything. James drops to one knee beside the fallen man, using techniques they all learned in training to secure someone without weapons. Duchess and Valor flank them, their presence alone enough to keep the man from struggling. The girl runs to Mike. She slams into him, wrapping her thin arms around his waist and burying her face against his shirt. She is shaking so hard her whole body trembles. Mike drops to one knee, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "You're safe now," he tells her. "You did so good. You were so brave." She lifts her head, and tears are streaming down her face now, the first emotion she has allowed herself to show. "There are others," she whispers. Her voice is hoarse, like she has not used it in days. "In the van. Please." Mike looks at Sarah, who is already moving to the van's rear doors. James has the man secured face down on the pavement, Duchess standing guard while Valor watches the perimeter. Sarah tries the handle. Locked. "Phoenix PD," she calls out, her training making her announce herself even though she no longer carries a badge. "If anyone is in there, we're here to help. You're safe now." Silence. Then a faint scraping sound, like someone moving. "We need to get these doors open," Sarah says. "Mike, you got bolt cutters?" James tosses his truck keys. "Toolbox, back seat." While Sarah runs to get the cutters, Mike stays with the girl. Titan has left the fallen man and now sits beside them, his body warm against the girl's leg. She reaches out with a trembling hand and touches the dog's head. Titan leans into her touch, patient and gentle. "What's your name?" Mike asks softly. "Emma." The word is barely audible. "Emma Martinez. I'm from El Paso." "El Paso, over 400 miles east. How long have you been with him, Emma?" 6 days. Fresh tears spill down her cheeks. "He took me from the park. My mom was buying ice cream. I was waiting at the table. He said he was looking for his lost dog. I tried to help him look, and then he grabbed me." 6 days. Mike's jaw clenches. 6 days this child has been in hell, and she still had the presence of mind to remember the signal, to trust them enough to use it. "You did everything right," he tells her. "Everything. You saved yourself today, Emma. And you saved the others too." Sarah returns with bolt cutters and a crowbar. With James helping, they work on the van's rear doors. The lock breaks with a sharp crack, and the doors swing open. The smell hits them first. Unwashed bodies, fear, and the chemical tang of sedatives. Inside the van, huddled together on a bare metal floor, are 4 more children. 2 girls and 2 boys, ages maybe 8 to 12. They squint in the sudden brightness, raising hands to shield their eyes. "Oh my God," Sarah breathes. She climbs into the van, speaking in soothing tones. "It's okay. You're safe now. We're here to help." The children do not move at first, too traumatized or drugged to process what is happening. But then one of the boys focuses on Duchess, who has moved to sit at the van's entrance, her tail wagging slowly. "A dog," the boy whispers. He sounds surprised, like he has forgotten that good things exist in the world. 3 dogs, James says gently. "They're police dogs. Well, retired police dogs. They found you." The sound of sirens rises in the distance, growing louder. The cavalry is coming, finally, but they already have everything under control. The trafficker is secured on the ground, not going anywhere. The children are found. Emma's signal worked. Mike looks down at Titan, who is still sitting calm and steady beside Emma, letting her stroke his ears. The dog's tail wags once, a slow movement that somehow conveys satisfaction. The next 30 minutes pass in a controlled chaos of police cruisers, ambulances, and plane-wrapped FBI vehicles. The responding sheriff's deputy takes one look at the scene and immediately calls for additional support. The trafficker is handcuffed and placed in a patrol car, still not speaking, his face a mask of rage and defeat. FBI Special Agent Carla Rodriguez, who Mike knows from his days on the job, arrives and takes command of the scene. She listens to their account, examines Emma's drawings in the dust, and reviews Sarah's phone footage. When she is done, she shakes each of their hands. "You 3 just broke open a case we've been working for 8 months, she tells them. "This guy is part of a network moving kids from the border states to California. We had reports of disappearances, but no solid leads. You just handed us 5 victims and the evidence we need to go after his associates." "It was not us," Mike says. He looks at Emma, who is being checked by paramedics but refuses to get in the ambulance until she can see Titan one more time. "That little girl saved herself. She knew the signal. She was brave enough to use it." "And your dogs recognized it," Agent Rodriguez says. "That's the part that's remarkable. These guys are retired, right? Haven't worked a case in how long?" "Titan's been retired. 3 years, Mike says. "But some things you don't forget." The agent nods slowly. The training sticks. Even when they're not on the job anymore, they still know. They still care. Emma finally convinces the paramedics to let her say goodbye before going to the hospital. She walks over to Mike and Titan, her steps steadier now, the haunted look in her eyes beginning to fade just a little. She kneels in front of Titan and wraps her arms around the dog's neck. Titan stands perfectly still, letting her hold him, his tail wagging in gentle arcs. She whispers something into his fur that Mike cannot hear. When she pulls back, she looks up at Mike. "Thank you for stopping. Thank you for seeing what I drew." "Thank you for drawing it," Mike tells her. "You saved yourself and 4 other kids today, Emma. Do you know how brave that makes you?" "I was scared. Brave people are always scared. That's what makes them brave." He glances at Titan. He was scared too, probably. Retired dogs are not supposed to do this kind of work anymore, but he did it anyway because you needed help. Emma reaches out and touches Titan's muzzle one more time. "Will I see him again?" Mike pulls out a card from his wallet, one that has his email address. "You tell your parents to contact me. When you're ready, when things are better, you can come visit Titan anytime you want. Deal?" "Deal." Emma takes the card carefully, like it is something precious. The paramedics guide her toward the ambulance. She turns back once, waving, and Titan's tail wags harder. Sarah and James are finishing their statements with the responding deputies. The other 4 children have been taken to the hospital, all of them physically okay, but needing care and reunification with their families. The trafficker is being transported to the county jail, where he will await federal charges. The sun is lower now, the worst heat of the day beginning to fade. The rest stop is still closed off by police tape, but the 3 handlers and their dogs have been cleared to go. They stand together by their trucks, processing what just happened. Valor leans against Sarah's leg, panting softly. Duchess sits in the shade of James's truck, her tail thumping against the tire. Titan is back in Mike's crew cab, watching through the window. "So," James says finally, "that was not how I expected this trip to go." Sarah laughs, a slightly shaky sound. "We stopped for water." "And saved 5 kids," Mike adds. "Just another day for these guys, apparently." "They're not supposed to be working anymore." Sarah shakes her head in wonder. "They're supposed to be sleeping on couches and begging for treats. But the second that little girl drew those symbols, all 3 of them went right back into mode." "The training never leaves them," Mike says. He is looking at Titan, who is watching him with those steady amber eyes. They remember. They remember what they were trained to do, and they remember why it mattered. Agent Rodriguez approaches them one more time before they leave. She hands Mike a business card. "The FBI wants to recognize your dogs officially. Their actions today led to the rescue of 5 children and the arrest of a major trafficking suspect. We're putting them forward for accommodation from the director's office." "They're retired," Mike protests. "Then they'll get retired dog medals," the agent says with a slight smile. "Look, I know you guys did not plan this, but what happened here today is going to make a difference. Those kids are going home because your dogs still knew their job, even after years away from it. That deserves recognition." After she leaves, the 3 handlers exchange glances. Mike can see the same mix of pride and disbelief on his friends' faces that he feels. "You know what this means," Sarah says. "We're not going to be able to take these guys anywhere without someone recognizing them now." "Good," James replies. "Let people see what well-trained K9s can do, even in retirement." They load up the trucks, the dogs settling into their familiar positions. But before Mike starts the engine, his phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. The message is brief. Emma's mother. "Thank you for bringing my baby back. The hospital gave me your number." "Can we really visit Titan?" Mike types back quickly. "Anytime. He's a hero today. But he was always a good boy." The response comes almost immediately. Emma says he's the best dog in the world. Mike shows the phone to Titan, who sniffs at it with mild interest. "Hear that, buddy? You're the best dog in the world." Titan's tail wags. He licks Mike's hand once, then settles down on the seat, ready for the rest of the drive home. They pull out of the rest stop as the sun touches the horizon, painting the desert in shades of amber and rose. In the rearview mirror, Mike can see Sarah's truck following, then James's. 3 retired handlers with 3 retired K9s, heading home after what should have been a simple road trip. But there is nothing simple about what they did today. Nothing simple about the way 3 dogs, years removed from active duty, still recognized a child's desperate signal for help. Nothing simple about the courage it took for a 7-year-old girl to trust strangers with a message drawn in dust. The highway stretches ahead, heat still rippling off the asphalt. Mike's hands are steady on the wheel, but his mind is replaying the moment Titan went rigid, the moment all 3 dogs locked onto Emma's presence. They knew. Somehow, through years of retirement and comfortable home life, they still knew their purpose. "Good boy," Mike says quietly to his partner. "Good boy, Titan." From the back seat comes a contented sigh, and Mike glances in the mirror to see Titan has already fallen asleep, his gray muzzle resting on his paws. The dog looks peaceful, deeply satisfied in the way working dogs only look after completing their mission. 3 weeks later, Mike stands in a small park in El Paso, watching Emma run across the grass. She is laughing, chasing after a soccer ball her younger brother just kicked, the bruises on her wrists now faded to yellow shadows. Her parents sit at a picnic table nearby, both of them watching their daughter with the fierce, protective attention of people who nearly lost everything. Titan sits beside Mike, his tail wagging as Emma changes direction and runs toward them instead. She has asked to see him every weekend since getting home, and her therapist says the visits are helping. Something about the dog's steady presence, the way he helped save her, has become a touchstone in her recovery. Emma reaches them and drops to her knees beside Titan, wrapping her arms around him in the hug that has become their ritual. "Hi, Titan. I missed you." The dog's tail wags harder. He licks her cheek, making her giggle. "Mom says I can get a dog when I'm older," Emma tells Mike. "I want one just like Titan." "German Shepherds are great dogs," Mike agrees. "Smart, loyal, protective, but they need a lot of training and attention." "I'll do it. I'll train every day." Emma's face is serious, determined. "I want to help kids like the ones in the van. I want my dog to save people too." Mike kneels down beside her, meeting her eyes. "You know what? I think you'd be great at that. But you don't have to wait until you're older to help. You helped save yourself and 4 other kids by knowing that signal, by being brave enough to use it. You helped too, and Titan. We were in the right place at the right time, but you made sure we knew something was wrong. That was all you, Emma." She considers this, absently stroking Titan's ears. The dog leans into her touch, patient and gentle. "The FBI lady came to see me. She said they found 6 more kids because of catching that bad man. He told them where other kids were hidden." Mike's chest tightens. He knew about the additional rescues. Agent Rodriguez kept him updated. But hearing it from Emma brings the impact home in a new way. That day at the rest stop did not just save 5 children. It saved 11. And it shut down part of a network that had been destroying lives across 3 states. "See?" he says softly. "You saved all of them. You and your symbol in the dust." Emma's mother approaches, carrying a small wrapped box. "Emma wanted to get Titan something," she explains. "We hope it's okay." Emma takes the box and holds it out to Mike. "It's a present, for Titan, for saving me." Inside is a leather collar, handmade, with Titan's name embossed in silver letters. Attached to it is a medallion that reads "Hero" on one side. On the other side, Emma has had something engraved, 3 small diamonds in a row, the symbol she drew that day. The symbol that changed everything. "Emma," Mike's voice catches, "this is beautiful. Titan will wear it every day." "Really?" "Really. Thank you." He removes Titan's old collar and replaces it with the new one. The leather fits perfectly, the medallion catching the sunlight. Titan sits patiently through the process, then looks up at Mike as if asking for approval. "You look very handsome," Mike tells him. The dog's tail wags. Emma's father joins them, his hand resting on his daughter's shoulder. "We can never thank you enough," he says to Mike. "When Emma disappeared, we thought we'd never see her again. Then the FBI called and said she'd been found in Arizona, that retired police dogs had somehow helped rescue her." His voice breaks. "It felt like a miracle." "Titan's the miracle," Mike says. Even after years away from the job, he still knew his purpose. He still wanted to help. They stay at the park for another hour, Emma playing fetch with Titan until both of them are panting in the heat. When it is time to leave, Emma hugs the dog one more time. "Next weekend?" she asks Mike hopefully. "Next weekend," he confirms. "Same time, same place." As Mike and Titan drive home, the sun setting behind them, Mike's phone buzzes with a message from Sarah. She has sent a photo. It shows Valor wearing a new collar, similar to Titan's, with a medallion reading Guardian. The caption says James and Duchess got one too. Another message appears, this time in their group chat. James has written, "Got a call from the National Police Dog Foundation. They want to feature our dogs in their retired K9 awareness campaign. Apparently saving 5 kids from traffickers is good publicity." Sarah responds immediately. "Tell them yes. Let people see what these incredible dogs can do, even in retirement." Mike types his agreement. Then he adds, "Emma gave Titan a collar with the diamond symbol engraved on it. She's doing okay, getting better every day." The responses come quickly, both Sarah and James sending heart emojis and words of encouragement. These three understand, in a way few others can, what Emma is going through and what her recovery means. The highway home is less crowded now, the evening traffic light. Titan sleeps in the back seat, his new collar gleaming. Mike glances at him in the rearview mirror and feels the familiar swell of pride he has felt 1,000 times during their partnership. They were supposed to be retired. Both of them. Finished with dangerous work, content with quiet days and long walks. But when Emma needed help, when she drew those 3 diamonds in the dust, Titan had been ready. The training never left him. The purpose never faded. A week later, Mike receives an official letter from the FBI director's office. Titan, Valor, and Duchess are being awarded the Bureau's highest civilian honor for their role in rescuing trafficking victims. There will be a ceremony in Washington, D.C., with press coverage and formal recognition. Mike reads the letter to Titan that evening, the dog's head resting on his lap as they sit on the porch watching the stars come out. "You hear that, buddy? You're getting a medal, a real FBI medal." Titan's tail thumps against the wooden deck. "You know what this means, right? You'll have to wear a bow tie. Maybe pose for pictures." The tail thumps again, though Mike suspects Titan cares much more about the extra treats he will get than any medal. But Mike cares about the medal. He cares about what it represents. 3 retired K9s, living quiet lives with their former handlers, somehow still aware enough, trained enough, dedicated enough to recognize a child's plea for help. They did not have to respond. They were not on duty. They had no obligation anymore. But they responded anyway, because that is what they were trained to do. That is who they are, even in retirement. Protectors, guardians, heroes with 4 legs and hearts bigger than anyone could measure. The ceremony in D.C. is dignified and moving. Titan, Valor, and Duchess sit perfectly still while their medals are placed around their necks, 3 gray-muzzled dogs who saved 11 children from unimaginable horror. Emma and her family are there, along with 3 of the other rescued children and their parents. The room is full of FBI agents, police officers, and media. But the best moment comes after the ceremony, when all the children gather around the 3 dogs. They sit on the floor in a circle, these kids who have been through darkness most people cannot imagine, and they pet the dogs, They hug them. They smile and laugh, some for the first time since their ordeals. Emma sits between Titan and Mike, her hand resting on the dog's back. "I'm going to be a canine handler when I grow up," she announces to the room. "Just like you. And my dog is going to save kids too." Agent Rodriguez, standing nearby, smiles. "I think that sounds like an excellent plan, Emma." "Can girls be canine handlers?" a younger girl asks. Sarah steps forward. "Girls make excellent canine handlers. I worked with Valor for 7 years. We made a great team." The girl's face lights up. "Really? Really?" Sarah kneels down beside Valor. "Want to hear about the time Valor tracked a missing girl through 10 miles of forest?" As Sarah begins her story, the children gather closer, their attention fixed on the dog and his handler. James joins in, sharing a story about Duchess solving a case that had stumped every detective in the department. Mike watches and remembers all the reasons he loved this work, all the times he was proud to wear the badge and partner with Titan. But this, he thinks, might be the proudest moment of all. Not the arrests or the commendations from his active duty days. This, seeing these rescued children finding comfort and hope in 3 retired dogs who still remembered how to be heroes. That evening, back in the hotel, Mike removes Titan's ceremony collar and replaces it with Emma's handmade gift, the one with the 3 diamonds engraved in silver. Titan seems to prefer it, settling down on his dog bed with a contented sigh. Mike's phone buzzes. A message from Emma's mother. "Emma wants you to know she drew 3 diamonds on her bedroom wall. Her father painted them there, right above her bed. She says they're her safety symbols now. They help her feel brave." Mike shows the message to Titan. "You did that, buddy. You helped her find her courage again." The dog's tail wags twice, then he closes his eyes. 6 months pass. Emma continues her weekly visits with Titan, each one a step forward in her healing. The other children rescued that day are also recovering, reunited with families, beginning the long process of reclaiming their lives. The trafficker and 3 of his associates receive federal sentences totaling over 200 years. The network is dismantled, and every one of the 11 children saved is alive, safe, going to school, laughing again. Mike still gets messages from Emma's mother, updates on her daughter's progress. Emma joined a youth group for trafficking survivors. She is talking about starting a campaign to teach the diamond symbol to more kids. She wants every child to know they have a way to ask for help, even when they cannot speak. On a cool October evening, Mike sits on his porch with Titan at his feet. The dog is moving slower now, the excitement of the ceremony and all the attention taking its toll. He sleeps more, plays less. But his eyes are still bright, still alert when Emma comes to visit. Sarah calls, her voice excited. "You're not going to believe this. The school district wants us to bring the dogs to do presentations, teach kids about the diamond signal, about how to stay safe. They want to start a whole program." "The dogs are really retired now," Mike reminds her. "We can't work them too hard. Just demonstrations, maybe one a month. The kids would love it, Mike, and it could save lives." He looks down at Titan, who is watching him with those knowing eyes. "What do you think, buddy? You up for helping a few more kids?" The tail wags, slowly but deliberately. "All right," Mike tells Sarah. "Once a month, but only if the dogs are feeling up to it. They've earned their rest." "Deal. I'll let the district know." The first school presentation happens in November. Mike, Sarah, and James bring their dogs to an elementary school assembly. 200 kids sit on the gym floor, their faces turned up in wonder as the 3 retired K9s walk in. Emma is there too, sitting in the front row. She has volunteered to help tell the story of how she used the diamond signal to save herself and others. When it is her turn to speak, she stands up straight and confident, no longer the terrified child from the rest stop. "These dogs saved my life," she tells the other kids. I drew a symbol in the dust, and they understood. They knew I needed help. And because of them, I'm standing here today. She demonstrates how to draw the 3 diamonds, explains what each symbol means. The children practice drawing them in the air, on paper, committing them to memory. Then Emma walks over to Titan. She kneels beside him and puts her arm around his shoulders. If you're ever in trouble, remember you can ask for help. Draw the symbols. Make the hand signal. Someone will see. Someone like Titan will understand. The applause that follows is thunderous. The children surge forward afterward, asking questions, wanting to pet the dogs. The 3 retired K9s handle it with perfect patience, letting small hands stroke their fur, accepting gentle hugs. As they are packing up to leave, a little boy approaches Mike. He cannot be more than 6, with wide eyes and a serious expression. Is your dog really a hero? Mike looks at Titan, who is watching the children with patient interest. Yes, he says simply. He really is. Can I tell him thank you? I think he'd like that. The boy steps forward and very carefully pats Titan's head. Thank you for saving kids, he whispers. You're a good dog. Titan's tail wags, and he leans into the child's touch. Mike watches this interaction and feels something settle in his chest. This is why they did the work. This is why they put in the hours of training, the dangerous calls, the nights away from home. For moments like this. For children who are safe, who know they matter, who have heroes to look up to. That night, Mike writes in the journal he has kept since Titan's retirement. He documents the school visit, Emma's speech, the little boy's thank you. He adds a photo of Titan wearing the collar with the 3 diamonds. In the margin, he writes, "Some dogs retire and sleep on couches. Mine saved 11 kids from traffickers and inspired hundreds more to stay safe." Not bad for an old guy who's supposed to be taking it easy. He closes the journal and looks at Titan, curled up on his bed, the FBI medal hanging on the wall above him next to 3 framed photos. One from their academy graduation, one from their last day of active duty, and one from the Rest Stop Rescue. 3 stages of a remarkable career. 3 chapters in a partnership that changed lives. Good boy, Titan, Mike says into the quiet room. You'll always be my good boy. The dog's ear flicks in acknowledgement, but he does not open his eyes. He is dreaming, his paws twitching slightly. Mike likes to think he is dreaming of running through the desert, young and strong again, racing toward a little girl who needs his help. Running toward his purpose. Running toward the reason he was born, to serve and protect. Running toward the 3 diamonds drawn in dust that led him to his finest moment.